Welcome to the Smarter Science of Slim, the scientifically proven program where you eat more and exercise less to burn fat and boost health.
Eat smarter, exercise smarter, live better. I am so ready for that.
Hey everyone, Jonathan Bailor and Carrie Brown back with another Smarter Science of Slim show. What's up, Carrie?
Jonathan.
It's a very demure... Carrie and Jonathan. All right, it's like the Will Ferrell when he used to do the old skits on Saturday Night Live inside the actor's studio. We should just have a very distinguished podcast.
I'm not sure I can keep this up for very long, though. I'm demure in bursts and normally short ones.
Yes, demure is not a word often associated with Ms. Carrie Brown with respect. Carrie can't believe it. Her mouth is agape. Speaking of mouths being agape,
I'm drinking green tea, lovely people. Green tea.
Now our listeners' mouths are agape. Speaking of, go ahead.
You wouldn't believe how much fan mail I get, but people trying to help me get over my green tea issues. It's just lovely.
What do they say?
It warms your heart. Carrie, have you tried this? Have you tried this? You could try that. I did this and you can't taste it. And it's lovely.
Well,
lovely.
That is, thank you, listeners.
People care.
For helping.
There's a lot of wonderful humanity out there.
There is. Well, when you restore people's sanity, you really get the best of them is able to shine through. Because as we talked about recently, obesity and these metabolic conditions are a disease. And just like we're crabby when we've got the flu, we're crabby when we've got the metabolic dysfunction that's at the heart of all these modern diseases that are plaguing us. So once we get that dealt with, we get a whole new version of ourselves that's way, way, way beyond what the scale says. And you do things like send mail to people you don't even know about how they should drink more green tea because you're just awesome. Anyway, you know what's not awesome, Carrie?
What's that?
This is going to be, you're going to have to reel me in on this show.
Oh.
Because there was recently, this is why I don't read the news, lovely listeners, because there are articles like this that come out and then I just have to go do push-ups and wall squats. Otherwise, I can't focus. So there's a news article that came out on CBC News. The headline is, How Toxic is Sugar? Now...
Wait, this is CBC News Health.
Yes. So, how toxic is sugar? The fact that we have to debate how toxic something is, doesn't that, like...
Oh, this is only a little bit toxic.
But actually, I mean, the thing that's somewhat encouraging is it appears that the media is no longer debating
whether it is or not.
It's how toxic is it. So on one hand, this article is good news.
Right.
Because there's no question sugar is toxic. The question is just now, how toxic is it? And one thing I wanted to share with the listeners here was this wonderful quote. So you have our wonderful Dr. Robert Lustig, who is just the man. We salute him. He is brilliant, wonderful researcher, crusader against sugar, specifically fructose. He's out
Go, Robert!
Woo! But then you have, of course, this wonderful woman who works for she's an industry representative, and her quote in this article is, I think it's important that we step back and look for ways to educate and help consumers fit sugar into a healthy dietary pattern.
Okay, she said, what?
Why in God's name would we take time? Like, Carrie, I know you're busy, I'm busy, I'm sure our listeners are busy. This woman legitimately said to a news outlet, we should step back and look for ways to educate and help consumers fit sugar into a healthy dietary pattern. So let me swap one word out of that sentence real quick, Carrie, just to highlight how ridiculous it is. I think it's important that we step back and look for ways to educate and help consumers fit cigarettes into a healthy lifestyle pattern. I swapped sugar for cigarettes and dietary for lifestyle.
I don't have any words. Use your words, Carrie. There are none. None.
And folks, this is not a new, like if you read the original Smarter Science of Slim, or actually by the time this podcast airs, the calorie myth may be out. You've seen the statistics around literally the same people who own cigarette companies own these edible product companies. Philip Morris produces food, quote unquote food, just like they produce cigarettes. And there's, we're not fans of sugar here, obviously. But this article inspired me to take this a level deeper about sugar and its implications in a way we've never actually gone on the show. We've talked about sugar addiction in brief, but I want to blow the roof off in this show.
Uh-oh.
I want to blow the roof off, Carrie. Are you ready? I
am going to have to reel you in. I can tell already.
Okay, so again,
I probably won't get to be demure for the rest of this show.
No, you're not. And Carrie, we're just gonna have to do a little back and forth here, because this is just, I'm gonna like ask you some questions, because this is one of those things we talk about. Like, it's not debatable that when you eat white bread, your blood sugar skyrockets. That's not a debate. That's just like you can study what happens when you ingest penicillin. Like, that's science. It's science. It's studyable. There's also other areas of science that involve the mind. For example, psychology and psychiatry. And in those lovely areas of research, there is this thing called the DSM-5, or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
I'm in there somewhere.
But
at least once, maybe multiple times.
But no, this is the constitution or dictionary for the diagnosis of mental disorders. It is gospel. It is accepted as truth for defining if someone is schizophrenic or a manic depressive or has personality disorder or has a chemical dependence, is addicted to something.
Is it a big book? Because I want to read it.
It is a very big book, and it is not a fun read. But
I think that would be very fun. I'm going to put that on my Christmas list. Oh, wait, my cats don't buy me presents.
So, in that book, Carrie, the reason I'm bringing it up here, because we're science-based. We're all about science. The way a addiction is defined, so everyone debate all you want, the definition in the DSM-5, actually this was from the DSM-4, because that's all that was available when I wrote this. DSM-5 is out now. You are addicted to something if you experience at least 3 of the following symptoms in a 12-month time period. Okay, again, this is not Jonathan thinks this. This is not Carrie thinks this. This is what a psychiatrist would use if you went into their office to diagnose whether or not you are addicted to pain pills, for example. So, first one, Carrie. Increased tolerance, meaning you need to eat more and more of it to get the same effect. Okay? Next, and remember, folks, as we're going through this list, maybe see if there's any that apply to you, and we'll actually maybe give some examples as we go. So, increased tolerance. For example, have you ever needed, for example, to increase the amount of sugar or sweetness in something to get the same effect? And I think many of us have probably had that experience. Withdrawal. Easy. Have you tried to give up sugar? Not easy. Number 3, overuse. Consuming more of it than is intended. Drinking 1 can of soda is over-consuming sugar. So there's overuse. Loss of control, aka having our behavior meaningfully influenced by that substance. So for example, maybe I really don't want to eat one of those cupcakes, but I can't help myself. Exceptional effort to obtain. Maybe waiting in line 20 minutes when we're already late for a meeting to get that sugary treat. Over prioritization. Again, maybe we're really struggling with some social ostracism, but It doesn't matter. We still want to consume those sugary foods. We're putting consuming sugar above our own happiness. And then ignoring negative consequences. Again, we know to the extent that we consume sugar, we're going to get cancer, we're going to get heart disease, we're going to get diabetes. It's just like smoking is to lung cancer. But sometimes we ignore those negative consequences. So that was a list of 7 things. If you have experienced 3 of those, just 3, in the past 12 months, according to the truth in the psychological arena, you have a chemical addiction to sweeteners. No debate. Fact. And this woman wants to say, I think it's important that we step back and look for ways to educate and help consumers fit sugar into a healthy dietary pattern.
Wow. Wow.
So again, it was, but moderation. Folks, do we say smoke in moderation? No, we don't, because smoking is addictive and it does permanent damage to you. Does that mean if you eat a banana, you're going to die tomorrow? No, of course it doesn't. But that's not, people aren't like, oh my God, I'm going to eat 6 bananas and I'm going to go out of my way to eat bananas. When we eat food in its natural form, none of these things happen. It's not like you need to eat 2 bananas to get the same impact 1 banana had on you yesterday, right? It does not work that way. Carrie's like, well, I don't know about you, but I've got like a 6 banana a day habit. I just can't kick it.
Right now, I have a bacon and Brussels sprout chowder addiction. I had it for breakfast, then I had it for lunch, and the only reason I didn't have it for dinner was because I'd eaten it all.
And Carrie, what really gets me amped up here, in addition to now I'm just super hungry and can't focus based on what you just said, what really gets me amped up, and this is where I'm going to hand the soapbox over to you, is of the flavors that we crave as people. Like if you crave the flavor of a meaty flavor, it is very hard to get a meaty flavor from natural substances that aren't meat. And it's very hard to get fatty flavor from natural substances that don't contain fat. It is ridiculously easy to get the taste of sweet from non-detrimental natural substances. So not only should we avoid sugar because it's addictive and toxic, but you can practice safe sweeteners. You can enjoy all the sweets you freaking want all day long as you do it smarter. Carrie, tell us about smart ways to sweeten stuff. Sorry.
Practice safe sweeteners. Did you really say that?
I've used that before. I want to get T-shirts made and put them on university campuses that say "Practice Safe Sweeteners."
I was apparently not paying attention when you said that.
When you go to your university health clinic, I'm going to have sitting out on the counter a bowl of stevia packets, and it'll say "Practice Safe Sweeteners."
That's very cute. I love that.
Anyway, tell us.
Anyway, what do you want me to talk about?
She's thinking about her bacon and kale stew or whatever it was.
Bacon and Brussels sprout chowder.
Bacon.
No, I think, it's been a long time since I took my last little blue and white pill. My brain's kind of gone on a bit of a wander.
Well, maybe you need to figure out a way to fit sugar into your healthy dietary pattern.
So this is just completely random, but
that's okay. You'd be in good company.
I was reading years and years and years ago. I think I was probably early 20s.
So this was like 3 or 4 years ago.
May have been late teens, so 5 years ago. I was reading a book about sugar addiction because even back then I knew that there was something more to, and bear in mind I was 110 pounds soaking wet back then. So it certainly wasn't obesity or losing weight that was a problem for me, but I knew that something was weird going on inside my body. Things weren't working, and I was always looking for what is it that makes my body just not feel quite right, not do quite right. And I was reading a book on sugar addiction. I wish I could remember the title, but I couldn't. And there was it had
Is
one
it
of
called
those.
Sugar Blues?
No.
No.
It had one of those crazy, how to know if you're addicted to sugar, one of those kind of 20-point questionnaires and 3 points for this. Anyway, and I did it. The thing that stuck out to me, which made me go, that's me, was it said, one of the questions was, when you eat Frosted Flakes or a sugar crusted cereal, like what do we call them in, I don't even remember what we call them in England.
Frosted Pebble Winks, Frosted Lift Jobbers,
Stop it.
Bangers and Mash.
You can't do it properly, so stop it. Frosties. Or here they're Frosted Flakes. In
Frosty
England,
fizzy drink.
in England, they're just Frosties. And, and the question was, when you're eating a bowl of Frosties or something like that with milk on, is the best bit drinking the milk at the bottom because it's so sweet? And absolutely, I was like, ding, 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 that is me. I eat the bowl of Frosties to get the spoonfuls of completely sugar-laden milk at the bottom. It was nothing to do with the cornflakes. And so it's that was the thing I've always thought about when I've thought about sugar addiction. And this is the girl, it's amazing to me that I did not have diabetes by the time I was 20, because I just loved sugar. When I was piping cakes there, I swear there was more icing going in my mouth than was going on the cake. There was, I went to bakery school. I was surrounded by sugar all day long. There was sweetened cream and sugar paste. I would eat lumps of sugar. Jonathan's like, I have this woman on my podcast.
Oh, you're a perfect case study. I love it.
Would pull pieces of sugar paste. There was nothing I liked more than just eating sugar paste out the packet, almond paste, all of those things. So I so understand what a sugar addiction is. I know it. I've lived it. It can make you crazy.
And as always, Carrie, you're just dropping wonderful science bombs and not even realizing it. A great example, your example of the sugared cereal and the milk at the bottom. Think of, sometimes people when they hear about this, they're like, rabble. That's not sugar, that's food, right? Like that's just the way food works. It's not unique to food. False. A good example is fat and salt. Nobody likes just fat. Like eating butter by itself is not appealing.
I like bread with my butter.
No, but you understand my point, right? When it comes to sugar, think about it. Like in that sugary cereal, there's the cereal at the very beginning, and then it gets progressively sweeter, and the reward in your brain, basically, the closer you get to 100% sweetness, the more you like it. That's not how any other flavor works. It's not that the closer you get to 100% fat, the more appealing that steak is. Like, it's the ratio of the steak to the fat, and that needs to be proper. If you just eat like a piece of fat off of a steak, it's not like that bowl.
That would actually make me nauseous.
But see, that's a huge difference. That's a great analogy, actually. So, bowl of sweetened cereal, then you got the milk at the bottom, versus a well-marbled steak eating a bite of just the fat. Sweet, sugar, that whole sensory experience is unique. And then again, that doesn't mean we have to give it up. It just means we need to be sensitive to it, and we need to be conscious. And you've got Carrie here who can outline any number of ways to not have to give up that flavor, and to also not have to become diabetic or struggle with your weight. Give us some of your top sweetener recommendations. I mean, we know you like xylitol.
My favorite, I don't even want to use the word substitute, because substitute to me means something fake, something instead of something better, something, and for me it's not. It's how I get the sweetness without the diabetes. Yep. It's how I get the sweetness without the addiction, because I do not crave the same level of sweetness that I did when I was eating sugar. I just don't. I still like sweet, but now, and I made SANE marshmallows, which sounds like an oxymoron, because how can you have marshmallows, sugar-free marshmallows, right? Because what are marshmallows? They're sugar. But I've made SANE marshmallows. I've made sugar-free marshmallows, and they're fantastic. But I have to say, I could eat an entire bag of jet puffed mini marshmallows from the store, the ones with sugar. I could sit, watch a movie, and eat the entire packet with my SANE marshmallows that I made using xylitol. I would eat 4. I was done.
Yep.
The sweetness, your craving for sweetness does not keep growing like it does with sugar. It actually, you have it, it's really sweet, you're done, you move on.
And that is again, this eating more but smarter. Sometimes it's hard for Carrie and myself to sleep, because it's literally just like, we just want to shout this from the rooftops, because once you eat more but smarter, like what Carrie just said is so profound. Just like when you eat other foods, like you might be like, man, I really want some eggs for breakfast. Like it really sounds good to me. But then you eat eggs and you're satisfied and you're good. You'll still, when you go SANE, you're still going to be like, oh man, I want something sweet. But then you're going to practice safe sweeteners. You're going to use xylitol, erythritol, stevia or stevia, however you say it, or lohango. And then you'll enjoy the sweetness and then you'll feel good.
And you'll move on.
And you'll move on.
It just doesn't set up the same. While I enjoy the sweet, it doesn't make me crave more.
SANE sweeteners do not make you insane in both senses of the word.
Right, they don't. The other thing, of course, the other very natural thing is fruit. Strawberries spring immediately to mind. Oranges, there's a lot of sweetness going on there. And while we don't encourage you to eat 3 pounds of strawberries in one sitting, you can get your sweet fix from fruit. That's another way to get it.
Absolutely. Especially if you Vitamix it up with some ice and some egg whites or some yogurt or something like that, because then the sweetness distributes across a mass of goodness. And you can just nom, 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 nom. You can eat your giant bowl during the movie, and it is good eats.
And this was a Jonathan thing.
Woohoo!
Even one small strawberry blended into a glass of water transforms that glass of water from something which I frankly find quite unpalatable into something really yummy. You don't need a lot to get that little sweet fix, I have found. And this is the girl that literally used to eat pounds of sugar paste, just sugar paste.
So folks, in conclusion, I do not, nor does Carrie, agree with this woman, and we do not think it is important that we step back and look for ways to educate and help consumers fit sugar into a healthy dietary pattern. Rather, we would say, forget about all that, eat more, but smarter, and practice safe sweeteners. Sound good, Carrie?
It makes me laugh, but yeah, it sounds good to me.
I love it. Well, listeners, this week and every week after, eat smarter, exercise smarter, and live better. We'll chat with you soon.
See ya.
Wait, don't stop listening yet.
You can get fabulous free SANE recipes over at carriebrown.com.
And don't forget your 100% free eating and exercise quick start program, as well as free, fun, daily tips delivered right into your inbox at bailorgroup.com. That's BAILOR group.com.